Was he considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
I think it's safe to say at this point that the Republicans have won the midterms. Trump wins again because the Republicans are redistricting all the maps in all the red states. Remember what happened with Virginia like last week, how they turned a 6-4, 6-5, seats to 10-1. Yeah, so that same thing is now happening as a retaliatory response by all the Republicans in all the Republican states. This is a pretty fun video, I gotta say. If you're into this stuff, then buckle up, hit the like, subscribe, and let's get into this because wow, this is fun.
Mr. President, I want to go back to the Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act. I know you said you haven't seen it.
When did it come out? Just now?
No, it came out this morning, but basically very much narrows the Voting Rights Act.
Was he considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
But my question...
This is a very good... We can end this news conference right now. I want to read it.
My question, Mr. President, is that some Republican governors have not responded in terms of what they're going to do. I guess early voting, for example, in Louisiana.
Republican governors? What?
Republican governors.
What about it?
Early voting begins Saturday there, for instance. Should they redraw the map in the next couple of
I would. I mean, it depends. I mean, some states don't need to redraw, and some do. I mean, I know what the concept of the ruling. I just haven't seen the result. Yeah, I would say generally, I would think that they would want to do it. Some are greatly helped, and some, didn't make much difference. Yeah, I would say they would do that.
Look at that, man. Even Trump is one of a kind, right? The way he answers questions, the enthusiasm, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. But now we're getting into the goodies, okay? Potential new Louisiana congressional map versus the current one. The current map shows a 4-2 for Republicans, and the potential map is a 5-1. Yeah, eat that, Virginia. Then potential map of the South without the VRA restrictions. Current map, Republicans 65 to Democrats 24. Potential map 77-12. How about that, huh? Suck on that, Democrats. Then the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled a landmark 6-2 decision that Louisiana's congressional redistricting map, which included 2 majority black districts, is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Let's have a little look.
This, at first blush here, is a win for the plaintiffs who were not black plaintiffs. They were non-minority voters who challenged this decision. These 2 districts that were minority majority. Essentially, Louisiana had drawn up districts, and then they were told in a legal battle that they had not represented black and minority voters sufficiently. They went back and drew a second district. So they had 2 of these minority majority districts. Well, then non-black voters sued and said, this is now violating our rights on the basis of race. So it looks like this is a 6-3 decision. There is a...
Well, hold on a second. You mean racism can be towards white people? Who would have thunk? Yeah, dude, come on. Democrats, the left, they want you to think that white people are the only racist people in the entire world. And if the whole game needs to change and white people bad, white man bad, white man with a wife and kids bad. How dare you? How dare you? But that's not the reality. The reality we know is what we're seeing right now. All this woke crap, out the window. Back to common sense.
One concurrence here, but it looks like the dissent sticks together with Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson. But here's what the majority says. They say in some, because the Voting Rights Act did not require Louisiana to create an additional majority-minority district, no compelling interest justified the state's use of race in creating SB 8. That was those 2 new districts. That map is an unconstitutional gerrymander, and its use would violate the plaintiff's constitutional rights. Now, this opinion is almost 100 pages long, so we're going through to see if it says something more broadly about the Voting Rights Act. That had been the fear on the left, that somehow this decision, if it was favorable for those challenging these maps, that it would somehow do a big chunk out of the Voting Rights Act. Haven't gotten to language that suggests that yet. It sounds like this decision is primarily about what happened in Louisiana, so we'll keep digging through this. But for right now, it's a win for those who were challenging these 2 minority-majority districts. Now, as we read through this and figure out the broader implications implications. There were 20 plus districts across the country that would have potentially lined up with this decision. They could be open to challenges that they were drawn on the basis of race, or that it was the primary factor that was used in drawing those districts. Most of those are throughout the South. So we'll look to see if there's enough sweeping language in this particular decision that may have a domino effect on some 20 other districts. Could be huge for the midterms. We'll continue to read through.
Woo, look at that. Look at the current map versus the potential, the possible redistricting scenario. Ain't that beautiful? Yeah. Well, that's what you get, Democrats, for messing around. Massive win. Supreme Court just ruled a 6-3 that drawing congressional districts solely based on race is unconstitutional. Who would have thunk? Oh my goodness, man. Dems are so stupid, huh? Aren't they just like people on the left that have that left-wing mentality? I get it. If you're in like high school and college and you're dumb and you're young and you're naive, sure, maybe a little bit more of a liberal mentality. Yeah, sure. I think it's not as sane. When you're young and dumb, you should be more empathetic and a little bit more left-leaning, a little bit more liberal. And then when you grow up in the real world, man, everybody's conservative. Everybody with a brain, at least.
We do. From the U.S. Supreme Court, we've been waiting months for this decision, okay?
Every week.
Yes, there was a question before the court as to whether or not a state law in Louisiana intentionally created a second majority-minority congressional district in violation of the 14th or 15th Amendment, specifically whether or not they created a district that would help African Americans in two separate parts of Louisiana. The justices have rendered their decision. Shannon Bream is now live going through it, and she has the verdict. Shannon, good morning.
And it was deemed a racist law imposed by the Democrats. Then, switching away from Louisiana, you got Florida House passes new congressional map, eliminating 4 Democratic held seats. Look at that. Holy smokes, man.
We know that Floridians expect and demand a fair process for redistricting because they voted on it. Our constituents voted on it overwhelmingly.
Just like in Virginia. Yeah, freaking turning a 6-5 to a 10-1. Welcome to karma, mess around and find out kind of thing.
Nothing in the governor's supposed justification for this map has any meaningful addressing. The districts on this map have fewer geographical boundaries and split more cities and counties. There are no compelling state interests that justifies throwing out the previous map, which was also defended in courts with state funding. What we are doing today is spending taxpayer dollars to create a map that will most certainly, we are spending taxpayer dollars to create a map that will most certainly be challenged in court, and then asking those same taxpayers to pay to defend it. We are asking Floridians to have their constitutional rights weakened and pay for it. There's a lot at stake here. So I'm going to make the moral argument. This is not just another vote. This is not just another bill. This is a moment that will define how seriously we take the Constitution we all collectively swore to uphold. And in this year, as the nation approaches its 250th anniversary, we should remember something very simple. History has its eyes on each and every single one of us. I urge you to vote no.
Yeah, this race-based crap, man, this is like gone. This has got to stop. The Democrats are so divisive. They're so polarizing, trying to turn everybody on everybody and watch the world literally melt down. That would be their dream. We're going to redistrict everything so that just the black vote counts and no white person can vote in a black day. Shut the hell up. What the hell are you doing? This is crazy. This is crazy. These people are freak shows.
So this is how liberty dies, with a thunderous applause. I cannot believe we are here to vote on a map that was first leaked to Fox News that the bill sponsor could not answer basic questions on because it's not her product. It comes straight from the governor's office, who has made very public statements and tweets regarding partisanship. And I quote from online, Team DeSantis speaking to how Florida can add up to 5 Republican seats. They got to 4. They got to 4. Members, this is not how the process should work. There should be public town halls. There should be community engagement. And it should happen every 10 years, not in the middle of a decade. This is unprecedented, and we should each be concerned, because you would be with your hair on fire if the shoe was on the other side of the aisle.
I am confident that Floridians' voices are being diluted, communities are being split, constituents ignored, and the voices are disenfranchised. The very process that this bill went through to get on the floor today is the indicia of how my constituents and yours will be treated, with deliberate disregard, deliberate disrespect for people of color, and deliberate disdain for registered parties, voters of all parties. This bill is a hard no today, and you should vote against it along with the rest, with me.
All right, so I'm going to do my best not to swear, because I occasionally swear. And I seen in the comments, love your content, love what you're doing, but please stop swearing. But can I call Democrats retarded? Is that okay? Is that within the confines of not swearing, but kind of swearing? Because it really feels like they are. Anyways, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like, subscribe, because President Trump is going to sweep the midterms. I know you love to hear it. Bye for now.